All right, let's talk about the tropics. Invest 96 sitting just south of the Dominican Republic. Wave moving pretty quickly at about 14 miles per hour. We're getting showers and thunderstorms constantly firing in this general area. We're still waiting for that low pressure to develop, and that will likely happen this weekend, maybe even later on this morning into this afternoon. And this would be tropical depression 29, believe it or not. Now, of course, if it gets a name, we would get Eta and then go from there. But it does have a very likely chance it becomes a tropical depression, a tropical storm. And a lot of models do blow this up into a fairly strong hurricane down here in the Caribbean as it moves towards Central America. Then the big question does it go into Central America and dissipate, or does it get to Central America and then start to lift to the north? Those are our two scenarios right now. Notice some models take it into the Central America, dissipate. Other models try to lift it to the north. And the reason for that lift is because of our upper air pattern. So it's going to stay down there through really the next 5 to 6 days. Not an issue for anyone here in the U.S. Our ridge will start to weaken, though, as we go into the middle part of next week. And if there's anything left down here, if it doesn't move in there and dissipate, it could start to get pulled to the north as this next trough swings on down. So you're talking over a week out. That's way too far to really speculate what would happen with this thing. But especially those in Florida will be watching this long term. We'll keep an eye on it long term as well, but right now it's not a threat to the United States. But hurricane season continues, that's for sure. And boy, it's been a heck of a season. We'll see nice weather, though. We'll see sunshine really the next 7 days. Don't forget to set your clocks back an hour tonight. We'll see nice weather tomorrow and then much cooler Monday and Tuesday for Election Day.